What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the time Buakaw almost got KO'd. We're going to look in depth at the first round where he gets clipped with a big left hook. He goes down to the canvas. He pops back up. He gets hit again later in the round, almost gets knocked down a second time. I want to go through with you guys and break down what went wrong and what mistakes you can avoid so you don't end up in the same situation he was in. Alright guys, Buakaw, a fan favorite and only being KO'd as far as I know the one time. And in my opinion that was more the liver shot and low kicks when he fought against Sato. I've covered that fight before, you can check it out up there. But in this one he legitimately could have really been KO'd up to the head. And this is so rare for Buakaw. When he first came in it looked like nothing would hurt him. So what happened in this fight? What changed up that made him more susceptible to getting punched in the head? Well, the first thing guys, as Buakaw went on in his K1 Max career, he got better and better at dealing with punches, but he did a majority of his defense by leaning back and evading punches. And if we look at a clip here of him getting knocked down, he fades back. As he fades back, the hook catches him in the jaw. Now there's a couple things I don't like about this clip, and the first thing is if you're standing facing towards your opponent and you lean backwards, but you're already in a very high stance, when you lean backwards, you've now almost hyperextended your back. You've put yourself in this position where you have no flexion left in your head. Whereas if I'm here and I get punched, my head just kind of jolts and I can rechamber. But from here, there's really nowhere back to go. So when I get hit, it is that much more detrimental. And I always try to teach this to guys when they fade back. If they fade back here, I tell them you can't stay here for too long because I'm going to keep hunting until I find your jaw. And if I catch you up here, you're going to go down. And I don't want to knock you down. So you have to make sure when you fade back, you come right back to this position. But like I said, Buakaw's very high already in this stance. So for him to try and lean back, it seems like eventually this was bound to happen. He was going to make this mistake. So if this is something stylistically that you like doing, be very, very aware that when you do your fade back and you're completely stretched out, you need to make sure that you're very, very quick on bending and dropping back down. But I would just advise that, don't, if you're up in this stance, don't be leaning back here. Terrible spot, one of the worst spots to take a punch. And if you are going to lean back, you don't want to do it with your jaw up. And that was what happened to Buakaw as well. The jaw was a little too high. If I can tip back just a little bit and at least keep my chin tucked, there's less chance that I'm going to get caught there and get knocked down. Now the next thing that went wrong in round number one is once he gets knocked down, he gets back up and his opponent, Andre Dida, starts coming after him like you normally would when you knock somebody down. And Buakaw's defense a number of times is literally putting his hands right here. No movement. He just locks his hands to his head. And this effectively makes you like a punching bag. And that's why I try and teach people very often, when you are going to absorb a shot, it's best to deflect slightly. You don't want to just stand here. You want to lift an elbow so the punch glances off. Or if somebody's coming to the side, I don't want to just stand like this because it leaves a big opening. I want to close that hole up. Now I've talked about it before. When I start doing this, yes, my body becomes more exposed, but the head stays more protected. And I can condition my body. I'm not conditioning my head. It can't be done. We're not going to go into the gym and be like, okay, hit me now. I'm going to get tougher. No, the body shots, hit away, take them, that's fine. But up to the head, you need to make sure you are not taking shots and you're protecting it with all the tools at your disposal. So proper defense, not just going here and doing no movement, being able to move your hands and pick shots out of the air is much better, much safer for yourself. So when you get hit by big shots, you don't end up getting rocked and knocked around like you're just a punching bag standing there for your opponent. Now, another mistake, whether it was Buakaw being super stubborn, which I suspect he might be, or he was just so rocked that he forgot about his other limbs, but in this round, you see him throw very, very few knees, very, very few kicks, and not really trying to engage in the clinch too much. He just kind of gets hit, knocked down with boxing, and he gets back up and he tries to box. And this is why game planning is important in training camp. So if you do get hit, hopefully you revert back to what you practiced over and over. Maybe Buakaw had been working on his boxing a lot and then he just reverted back to doing what they practiced the whole training camp. I don't really know what the reason was. All I know is that it's a very bad strategy when somebody knocks you down knockdown, not to try and maintain the distance, not to start pushing them away or wrap them up. But you definitely don't want to be bombing punches with them, because the second knockdown that he took, or sorry, almost knockdown, he just got saved by the ropes, which technically in a lot of fight sports now would be considered a knockdown. If the ropes save you from going down, it's a knockdown. And I think that could have been avoided if he wasn't boxing, if he wasn't being stubborn, because when we go into rounds 2 and 3 and he clears his head, he goes back to kicking and clinch, and then he wins those 2 rounds, which then at the end of the fight turns into a draw. They go the extra round and Buakaw wins, fighting smart. Now, a number of times in round number 1, when Buakaw is being stubborn, he gets knocked down, he goes, I'm coming at you. He throws his punches and he's looping them through, but then Dida is able to counter and come over top. Buakaw didn't get knocked down in these instances, but it was very, very close. And one shot that whips through and the counter shot comes and clips you behind the ear and you're done. You want to be very, very diligent at when your shot misses the target, it starts rechambering right away, and you don't let the shot stretch and stretch and stretch, because then there's the whole time here, all of this right past here is wasted motion, wasted time when you're exposed. The reason Buakaw didn't get knocked down in these instances is, number 1, he's very tough, and number 2, he probably just got lucky. One of these shots could have just clipped him. Just an inch to this side or that side could have made the difference in a knockdown. Or it could be as simple as just coming that half second earlier or half second later or whatever it is. Timing and luck just kept him up in these instances, I believe. And the last thing that Buakaw did wrong in this first round was he loaded up his punches. And this is what almost led to him going down the second time. Dida does a little fake. Buakaw drops his hands, gets ready to lunge in with a shot. He drops his other hand at the same time. Both hands are down. He loads up and he gets clipped before he even knows what's happening. This is a very entry-level thing, not loading your punches up, preloading them, but it's just something in the instance of Buakaw being rocked and probably just being angry and trying to knock this guy out. He made this mistake, but whenever we throw a hand, we want to throw our left hook. We don't want to have our hand come down here. I don't want to swing down and launch it in. I want to twist and keep this hand up and keep this hand up, because now from here it could be straight, it could be an uppercut, it could be a hook. I could just chamber from here and let my other hand go, but we want to make sure it's not down. From here, there's only 2 angles this shot can come at. It makes it much easier to read. It's much slower, and as you see in the clip, it exposes his jaw for far, far too long. If you guys have not checked out this full fight yet, I'm going to throw a link down below. You can go ahead and watch the whole thing. First round is really hectic. You're looking, you're watching, you're biting your nails. Buakaw, stay alive, stay alive. And then he gets technical, but it's still a rough fight for him. And he still makes a number of little errors throughout the other rounds. But let's keep in mind, Buakaw was probably super burnt out at this time in his career. He might have not been training as hard. He probably didn't care as much as he did earlier in his career about the outcome of fights. I believe that all played a factor in the outcome of this one, what happened in the first round as well. I like looking back on the best fighters in the world, watching the rounds where they had the hardest time of their career and dissecting what went wrong and trying to make sure I never end up in a similar situation. That's why I like sharing with you guys. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope you're going to implement some of the things I mentioned into your training or mental notes or physical training. And if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you have not already, join the channel, get subscribed. As always, guys, train hard, and I'll see you back here soon for another video.